Hello, I'm Gerard Toomey. I'm one of the directors of Bamburgh Research Project. We're an archaeological project that's working here at Bamburgh Castle in Northumberland in the UK. This is our Trench 3, and this is where the majority of the excavation is taking place at the moment. So we'll be taking you through some of the excavations and finds that are coming out here. And I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out this season.
Well, at the moment what we're doing is we're just trying to take the green stuff off. We're trying to remove all the fines that are sitting on the surface and re-expose all the context that we're starting to see last year. And really my hope is that we'll expose those and be able to kind of explore them a bit more. We had some interesting stuff down the bottom of the trench with a lot of slikers coming out, a lot of burnt patches were coming up there, and in the top part of the trench behind me. And I guess I just really hope to see those kind of come to fruition a bit more, to be able to understand their relationship to one another, how they relate to the large midden area that we seem to have been working through for the last few seasons. So I guess that's my hope, that we'll sort out those features and we'll get a better grasp on what's going on and be able to kind of progress through those. I'm pretty sure that in that there are quite a few features that are cut through that may be filled with the same material, so they're very difficult to see. We can note some of them by the fact that there are stones on their end, but I'm still convinced that what we've got is an area of kind of quite intense activity, which has been worked and reworked and reworked, and has got burnt material, which implies that there's some industrial working going on here, but I'm not exactly sure of its nature yet. We do seem to be coming down to a few structures, and hopefully, as I say, we'll clarify exactly what those are later on in the season.
I'm the director who's principally responsible for the archaeology. So I set the policy for the overall strategy for archaeology, which the trench supervisors and excavation team implement. Phil Wood and I set up the research project in 1996. We wrote to Lady Armstrong and asked if we could come and play in her big house, and she was very gracious, said yes. So in 97, the following year, we identified the burial ground, which became our proper excavation. And in 2000, we put the first trial trenches into the castle here. So this is effectively 10 years on into excavating in the West Wall.
When I came to the research project here, I kind of had done quite a lot of excavation before. I'd done commercial archaeology as well as some research stuff, and so I basically understood the process of archaeology. But I guess what really was very positive was kind of being, I guess, promoted to doing supervisory stuff meant that I was able to be in charge of what got excavated when, and that my kind of interpretations of stuff counted, and that my decisions made a big difference.
This is my 5th year at Bamburgh. I came here as a student, but I've also done quite a bit of commercial archaeology, especially while I was at university. I did a lot of work for Graeme, for the BRP's commercial side, as well as other archaeologists as well. Since I left uni, I've worked full-time for a unit doing archaeology, full-time all year round. So, I mean, I think you learn a lot, but most of my archaeology experience really comes from Bamburgh Castle.
The BRP's been really good for me because it's offered me a lot of digging hours, which looks good on the CV. I've had an opportunity to take part in lots of different things. It's not just been digging. One season I was an assistant supervisor for finds, so I learnt to draw. I learnt to bulk find, recognise different types of finds. It's been really useful for me, and off the back of that I have been able to get good references which have enabled me to probably do my Masters, to do my PhD and get other excavation work.
I got involved with the BRP in 2004 before I went away to university, when I came here as a student for 2 weeks it was originally, and ended up staying for 3. I was a volunteer archaeology student at the time, and very much enjoyed the time that I worked here. It's quite an addictive place. You don't easily forget it once you've been.
This year, as I've been made an assistant supervisor, I've only had 3 days of it now, but teaching people something that I love and I'm passionate about, and hopefully passing on my passion and my knowledge to somebody else, and hopefully that will encourage them to come and do it.
I think a little group of slikers swim through a fall there. It's been trialled back just to clean it up, and when these guys were planning, Dominic noticed a little patch of kind of turquoisey blue, and thought it might be some copper, and I had a little bit of a trowel, and we think it is. So Kate's come down and we're going to lift them and have a look at what we've got there. We've got a kind of good idea that we've probably got some stikers around here already. We're pretty close to the horn that we had maybe kind of a couple of metres away from, and so we reckon that what we've probably got is kind of more deposits of stikers in this area. We presume that we would have last year, so this is not really surprising.
That's not stikers. And that is not a stiker.
So not stikers?
Not stikers.
What could they be?
I think it's part of a brooch, or possibly a strap end, but I think it's a brooch. It's very hard to tell. It's got that same, it's got a lot of the charcoal and fibrous material that was coming out of the stiker hoard. So I don't really want to remove it, which would give me a lot. It would give me a lot more information about the find if I could take this out, because I'd be able to have a look at the shape, but it will damage it. So I don't want to do that. Then another copper alloy object. It would be interesting to work out what it is and what date it's from, because we've been getting a lot of kind of out of sequence objects, so things that are quite a lot earlier, Roman objects and things like that. So that would fit very nicely with our theories.
This at the northern end of the trench has caused us some problems. We knew we were getting into what should be relatively early deposits, but we kept finding shards, either fragments of green glazed pottery, which is certainly no earlier than the 13th century in the finds trays. So at the beginning of last year, when we travelled the site back about 2 or 3 times, we just left all the finds on the surface instead of putting them into the finds trays and sending them off to be processed. And lo and behold, a circular spread of green glazed pottery appeared, localised in one little area, telling us quite clearly that although we were not seeing it very well, there was clearly a feature in here, a pit dug from later deposits down into the earlier material.
This year we're happy that we've got some professional productions coming to film us at Bamburgh. Check it out. BBC are going to be doing a programme called Digging for Britain, and they're currently actually on site today. So that'll be released later in the year. There's another production, Time Team are going to be coming here later in the season, and that should be very exciting because they'll be able to do all sorts of things like geophysics and stuff, so we should be learning an awful lot in the few days that they are here.
Processing grain foodstuffs, sometimes bits would get burned, it ends up being crumpled into the ground, and it can be seared to a very fine mesh.
You can find Bamburgh Research Project on the web at www.bamburghresearchproject.co.uk. We also have a blog which you can find on the website, which gives daily updates of the finds and the things that are going on site. So please go and check that out.